This episode is general information only. Full disclaimers in the notes.
Okay, welcome back to Steak Dinner Pod. Thanks for joining us. I've got Josh Peterson here. G'day, Josh.
Hey, Kieran, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. Everyone, Steak Dinner Pod is just to give blokes the tools, clarities, and encouragement to rebuild physically, financially, emotionally, and mentally, one conversation at a time. So we'll see how we go for another one today, episode 16, order 16, I should say.
Order number 16.
Yeah, they're part
get
of
it
the
right.
Steak
Get it
Dinner
right.
orders.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to
So
hit 20 soon. Can you believe it? Maybe not before Christmas. Depends on our enthusiasm.
we might have to sneak one in, JP. We don't have a Christmas party organised.
We need
either.
it. Yeah, and we need a guest before season 1 collapses. So that might be a good thing too.
We called season 1, season 2.
Oh,
Okay.
season 2 will be next year. That'll give
Okay.
us, it'll make it look more professional if we've got seasons of that.
Okay, cool.
That's
All right.
that's the
I'm
thought
with you.
process. Yes. Quickly, how are you going with your social media?
Good.
You are?
Deleted. Yeah.
I've got a question though. I thought you caved. You sent me a couple of links from
No,
things.
okay. So
Explain that
I
away, because I thought this guy's collapsed
you've
right
got
in
me.
front of my eyes. Yeah.
What ones did I send you? Oh, I sent you YouTube, but YouTube on the computer.
Oh, okay. Great. Yes, of course.
yeah.
And use your messages
Yeah.
through there.
So I think it was a very funny comedian. I'd heard of it because I've seen the skit before.
Yeah, Sebastian Maniscalco. Yes.
Yeah, very funny guy.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. I'm a big fan of his. He's got some
I've
funny
seen a
humor.
couple of those of his things slip into your repertoire of comedy.
I
in
like
the-
him.
in
I
the
like
night.
Anthony Jeselnik as well. Anthony Jeselnik
he's
is
good. He's dry. Everyone,
he's super
check him
dry.
out.
Check
He
him
was-
out. Check out Sebastian. Very different, but
Show
both.
notes. Link him to the
I
blog.
will link him in the show notes for sure. Might get AI to do that on my behalf.
Both of those are very good, mate. How was your weekend? Good. Last week. All good?
Last week was good, great. I actually, interestingly, around the apps, I'm still running social media free on the phone. I was looking at my screen time the other day. I want to say I was about 4.5 hours of screen time average a day, and that dropped from last week to about 2.
Fantastic.
So when
you'd
you
be
think
scared on
about
what my number is.
your number would be around 8, I would think.
Yeah.
8 hours minimum.
I would think that's about right.
But then you've got other, younger generations, they're sitting at about 10, 11 hours. Some of them, it's like every waking moment. I don't know what's going on there, but that's crazy. That can't be good. But anyway, I've got 2.5 hours back, like that.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Mentally. And it's just not the time back. So it's like, oh, what am I doing with the time now? It's like, well, I feel better in the head, to be fair. Like I feel like I've got less noise running through my head, so that I found that quite interesting. Reading more and probably a bit more diligent around some of my exercise protocols. So anyway, that was good news for 1 week. I'm happy. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try and continue that. Also, I got some new tech too, just quietly. I got the
What'd you get?
AirPods Pro 3.
Brother got those too. Yeah.
I got to tell you, mate, if you're married or with kids, they're
Yeah.
a must.
Noise
they're not-
cancelling.
but it's like, it's times 4 on the originals. So,
Right.
so the background noise of just family life, it just drowns that right out. You know what I'm talking about. You know that background noise that runs in through households. Yeah.
So how would that go on a plane?
Apparently some people have tested it on planes and it's almost equal to what you might get on, say, a Sony or the Bose.
Over the ears.
Yeah, like it's pretty much, it's nearly there in terms of drowning out the airplane noise. So
Holy. Okay. I didn't know.
it's great.
Well,
Yeah.
I could have used a set. I was in honor of today, which will be all about our habits, etc. I
Right.
was up at the Gold Coast for a bit of discipline up there, or ill discipline. Went up to the Eternal MMA fight up
Great.
there on the Saturday on the Gold Coast.
Yes.
Highly recommend. It was
Yes.
really good. And then we had the UFC on Sunday as well,
UFC
which
card.
was great.
I enjoyed that last Sunday. That was a highlight for me. I sat down with my son for 5 hours on the lounge and we ate burgers and chips and chicken wings. and there was some ice cream at the end for the main event, obviously, and just watched some amazing fights. We watched all the early prelims, the prelims, and the main. So
The
some
early
terrific
fights were
fights
good.
in there. Oh, the early fights were amazing. The last two, the co-main and the main, a bit ordinary, to be fair. They went the distance, but there was some amazing fights and KOs in those prelims that were
I tell you what,
great.
the guys who fight in the ring like that,
Courageous.
they've got to have discipline. They've got to have habits. They've got to have
Yes.
things that.
And I would dare say a bit of courage, because I saw a head kick. And just the sound that it made. And you could just see that guy was essentially unconscious on contact. It was just lights out before he even looked close to hitting the ground.
That head kick would probably hit them with their heel up to the head. Is that what they're kicking them with?
With the heel or with the shin?
Like when
the
they do
shin.
when they do the spin kick.
The spinning roundhouse kicks, yeah, that would be a spinning roundhouse heel kick. But I think this one was a shin kick, I think, to the side of the head. So yeah, like I said, it sounded like it was hitting a tree. It can't be good. It can't be good. That guy was going straight to the hospital, no doubt, for a checkup and a scan. But anyway.
Well, let's talk.
We digress.
Today's one is habits, because it got raised in our last meetup. And the reason why is because it's one thing to make a decision, but it's a lot more to be able to follow that through and have the outcome you want. So if you're talking about it's shaping, your habits are shaping your health, your money, your relationships, your emotional stability, your identity, and you add all that together, that's where your life's headed. So everyone who's probably listening to this has been tested, right, in their lives. We're trying to get ourselves back together. So this order on the menu of the steak dinner is about helping us understand why habits break down for all good intentions. New Year's Eve, going to the gym.
Yes.
And why midlife probably makes it worse. So here we go.
I'm really looking forward to this. Well, my type A temperament is looking forward to this because I do like structure. So this is great.
I think all of us have the motivation to get fitter, stronger, more mental clarity, but I think we've got to have a default, right? It's easier if you have a default. So sort of like when you start up your computer in the morning, if you've got one, or you reboot your phone and turn it on, it's got a certain sequence that gets you ready.
Runs in the background.
Runs in the background. So those things become automated. So realistically, maybe this might surprise, I'll throw the stat out early, about 40% of your daily actions are habits, not decisions. So they're just habits, things you're going through every day. You're not consciously making a decision. They're a habit of your decision.
Do you think that most people are aware of that? Or do you think that's something that most people would be oblivious to, the extent to which habits actually define who they are in their day?
Look, I'd say a lot of the habits you would think are automated. So the blokes who, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, you have your coffee, you get in your car, you drive, or you get on your public transport and have your show to watch or podcast to listen to, like the Steak Dinner Pod. Yeah, well done.
Shameless plug. Well played.
So I think a lot of that's habits. So when you get to work, maybe it's new inputs. That might be the issue. When you're going through your day-to-day, Monday to Friday anyway, those sort of things, for a lot of it is you're going to and from and generalize things that become your habit.
Yes.
Maybe even having drinks when you get home. They're also habits.
Yes. And we'll definitely be going into some of those bad habits, which I know myself I'm guilty of. I know you, salt and vinegar chip scoundrel that you are. We've all got these habits. I also think there's an aspect of, and maybe it's driven by ego that wants to believe that we are in the driving seat and that we're consciously in control of our behavior at all times. And I think it's definitely something that really is tough to understand, that a lot of what we do is running on autopilot in our subconscious mind and not something that we're consciously aware of what we're doing. Even though we want to believe that it's not actually the case. So 40%, daily actions, not decisions. That's from Duke University. What part of your day feels like it's on autopilot?
The coming from work, back, and probably the first part of my evening, I'd say, is all habit.
Mm-hmm.
So
And are you happy
yeah,
with those programs, with those habits? Are you running them?
some of them, yes. Some of them, yes. Even if it's like do gym work or something like that, mowing the lawn every 2 weeks or those sort of things. They're habits as well. You just get in and do them and automate all that process. And yeah, some of them are good. Some of them are bad. Mine would probably be you start me off with one beer. I can keep going till it stops, till there's no one else ready to, till there's no one else who wants to drink, honestly.
Yes. Yes.
So my best habit is actually not starting. That I'd say that'd probably be a point.
Yes.
But yeah, I would say so. What about you?
I was thinking about this. I've got two real defined habit cycles, I think, in my life, and they're kind of polar opposites. So I'm a morning person. I know this viscerally. I'm a morning guy. Everything I do in the morning is positive and productive, and I understand this about myself. And it's very easy for me to get into very positive habits in the morning, like, getting a lot of my most critical sort of tasks done at work, ones that require me to really think, those thinking tasks. I find them easy in the morning. I find it easy to go to the gym in the morning. I find it easy to have a healthy breakfast. Find it easy to do chores around the house in the morning. So to eat well and to get all those things done, definitely for me in the morning is where I'm at. And then when I hit, say, afternoon, maybe 3, 4 o'clock, that's when things change. And then I have this other part of me that is probably and this is probably, I'm low energy. I probably spent the tank, and I tend to then delve into some of those unproductive habits. So it's easier for me to eat an unhealthy meal at night compared to the morning. I just don't crave it. I'm not that guy. It's like I have a personality. I have a morning identity and I have an evening identity. And in that evening, I'm more susceptible to bad habits like, having a drink. And same as you, one drink becomes 2, 3. Then it's, well, okay, maybe Uber Eats sounds good now. I can do an Uber Eats. I've been good all day. I deserve that. So then I can kind of go into some of those less positive habits. So that's something that I'm aware of, and that's something where I would probably need to focus on in terms of, it seems to be my main area of concern is the afternoon, evening for me.
Yeah, I'd probably say I'm reasonably the same. Maybe it is like that. If you've already got enough default habits early that without distraction, maybe. I think that'd be the same for a lot of blokes who are listening. We usually get the time to ourselves early in the morning before the whole family wakes up.
Yeah.
Or before the workday starts.
Yes. Do you think energy is an aspect as well? Do you think you just
that
run
makes
out of
sense.
energy, which means you kind of run out of that, and you get into that decision fatigue. It's like, I've made all these really good conscious decisions, and now I'm out of gas now.
Yeah, makes complete sense. I was going to say fatigue as well. Yeah. And also, like the habits you form early in your life, they're probably hard to break. The guys out there who are smoking, and then they're smoking, then they're switching to vapes, or they're switching to other things.
Vaping. The vaping's a
They're very
problem,
hard.
isn't it?
Like that part, or maybe who you used to hang around with, those sort of issues that, if maybe those early things that you're a rower every day or a swimmer every day, maybe those habits stay and that's where you feel good.
Yes, that is so important. And I think for me, definitely that plays a big part. I look at, for example, exercise. I know people struggle with exercising and motivation and things like that. I don't even think about it. It's just second nature to me. And I know why, because as long as I can remember, and exercising, say, with my dad when I was 10 onwards, I don't really even remember a time when I wasn't doing it. So it's so baked into who I am, that I don't even give it a second thought, so, which is great. That's great. But then I also understand I've got weaknesses around maybe food or alcohol, that I haven't been able to kind of resolve that into like a part of my identity. That's positive. So, but it's interesting. You mentioned about like company as well. Certain company. When I see this person, these habits start to, that's why that's, that adage of you are the sum of your 5 closest friends.
Yeah,
Because
true. True.
because when you're with them, you're going to pick up each other's good and bad habits, I would imagine. So if all of your friends are big drinkers, I'd find it very difficult not to be a drinker. Or if all of your friends don't really care about working out or their diet or whatever the case, but I could see how that would sort of
Yeah, that's a
start
perfect
to
one.
bleed into it, right?
Yeah, you golf, you start playing
Yeah.
golf, make that your habit, and then you're all doing roughly the same thing. Yeah, that makes complete sense, JP.
Yeah.
So how do the habits actually work?
Mm.
Well, maybe we could say before that, what do the habits cost you, right?
Mm.
And maybe we just want to say that, like, they're probably pretty obvious to everyone. You just got to acknowledge what they are. But, if your habit is drinking a lot, well, you're going to end up with a beer gut, or an alcoholic where you don't have anything, your skin and bones. But it can also cost you relationships
Yes.
with your kids.
Yes. I think one thing we really need to touch on, and I think it's something that I've had to reflect on, that habits go beyond just, drinking and eating. It's how you behave and how you react to things as well. They're habits.
Mm.
So, lashing out,
Yep.
showing your anger all the time as a reflex, they're habits. They're habits as well. You can develop those into habits where people just fly off the handle. Or if someone goes into the car, I look at my dad, for example, was a very, and I've said this in the past, he was quite a robust kind of guy when I was growing up. And then he mellowed. He mellowed into his old age. But he's always been a lunatic on the road.
Yeah.
A lunatic.
White line fever.
Yeah, white line fever.
Like
And
guys who
it's so
play
everything,
soccer in the same league.
yes, everything around him is like so relaxed. He's like, yes, a very chill guy, except when he gets in the car. As soon as he hops in the car, he becomes a complete lunatic. So you've got this 82-year-old guy who's probably impaired in different ways in terms of reflexes and stuff like that, but still acts like he's 20 on the road. So I find that interesting. And I know that it's got to be just habits. He gets in the car and he gets into this state of defense or attack or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's his mode when he gets in on the road.
Yeah.
And he's doing it on autopilot.
He hears through the speakers, let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready to, yes.
And rips in. He might need a full self-driving Tesla, mate, just so he can sit back and relax. And
I think so, just for his own safety, for sure.
Might be there. So, okay. So how do the habits actually work? And we could probably start this down. So 4 different ways. So it's the cue, the craving, the response, the reward. So to break that down, the cue is the trigger. Something you said before, hanging out with a couple of mates might cue different triggers.
Could be a time of
Craving.
day. Could be a time of day. Could be time of day. Could be an environment.
Yeah.
Could be sitting on the lounge at night. Is
when
a cue.
You feel like chips is a cue, for sure. Craving, the emotional need. So that's comfort, relief, control, escape. One of those emotional things that you also crave. So we've had the cue, then the next, let's do the crave. The crave is salt vinegar chips. The cue was sitting on the lounge. The response is your behavior. So the response here is I get up, I grab the packet of chips, I start crunching down on it. And then finally is the reward or the payoff. And for different things, that's the dopamine hit you get out of it, or some feeling of certainty that you get because you've done a certain thing, or you've released some tension. Those ones again, cue, craving, response, reward. Just the unfortunate things there is, right, so the habits are cue, craving, response, reward, and we've probably got hundreds of examples of that. JP, what do you...
Well, you talked about the salt and vinegar chips, so that's obviously the snacking. I talked about, behavior, anger snapping, for example, is is a habit. What are we craving in that example? Control, where, maybe our world feels a little bit chaotic. The response is obviously that irritation or that release, and the reward is the momentary sense of power or release, I guess. Scrolling is another, I think that's a huge one for people.
So go
That's
through those. What's the cue?
So for
the response, the
scrolling,
reward?
it could be, I think the cue can be a lot of things for a lot of people, because I think as a society, we're so addicted that the cues must be so different for people. I think just waking up could be a cue for some people. Some people, the first thing they do as soon as they wake up, I open my eyes, I reach for the phone. I guess for other people it's different, but as an example, could be afternoon fatigue or emotional overload would be the cue. The craving would be an escape from or a distraction. And the response is just opening the social media, scrolling, and the reward would be the dopamine hit, and I guess that temporary avoidance of stress. But you touched on last week, you think you're getting this temporary avoidance of stress, but what's the reality? It's doing the opposite, isn't it? Like a micro cortisol release, where it's just micro stress on micro stress that you're actually getting there. You're not getting any relief from any of this.
No, and in fact, by the end of it, you're procrastinating. So
Yes.
you've whatever you were trying to get away from is still there.
Yes.
The
Yes, and you've lost probably
the
2, 3,
obstacle
4
is the
hours.
way. The obstacle is the way. That's the way you got to go forward
Yes.
through the obstacle. And unfortunately, when you've got those other cues, and I guess what we'll talk about is how do you. There's all different ways to form good habits and how to remove bad
Yes.
habits.
I think it's
And that's
good to
what
give an example of a good habit. I've used exercise as an example. So habits aren't all bad. Habits are good and bad. So I think it's good. I think it's important that we touch on what a good habit looks like. So I think if we look at exercise, the cue could be, for me, it's that morning routine where I've got high energy. So for me, the morning part of the day is the cue. What's the craving? To act like, I guess, the person I believe I fundamentally am. The response is to train my body, and the reward is, I guess, that increase in health, confidence, momentum, and it reinforces the identity that I ultimately believe that I want, is that, I'm a healthy guy and a good example for my kids.
So with your exercise, do you do exercise every day?
At least 6 days a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much every
So it feels,
day.
yeah. So whereas when I would do it, it was like when I was swimming or rowing, that was every single day.
Yes.
Now it's sort of, well, maybe every second day.
Yes.
But that's only 3 times a week, by the
Yeah.
end of it. And I can usually duck it on Sunday. So,
Yeah.
whereas
I
there'll be a
mean,
lot of blokes who are listening, they're probably doing a lot of heavy exercise type work, which would be, mechanic, lawn mowing, labourer, brickie, these sort of guys, even builders running around, going up and down, everything, getting their stress levels through the roof as well. So, yes, but for exercise, it's probably easier to set yourself up as 6 days a week than set yourself up as intermittent.
well, it depends. Again, it goes back to, and I think we'll probably touch on this, but when we think about habits, and I've been guilty of this, and part of the reason I failed in certain habits is because I've had this all or nothing attitude, and having this impression of myself that, exercise means I have to go in there and flog myself for an hour. Right? That would be very difficult to distill into a habit every day, where I know every day I get up and I
Especially for the
flog
people
myself.
watching.
Yeah. So, yes. So for me, it's more of a habit of I allocate an hour to move every day.
An hour.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's
No, but
good.
I allocate an hour, but it's, it could be
Yeah.
a 45-minute strength session. It could be a slow run for 50 minutes or an hour. Could be going for a swim. The habit is really about having that time set aside to do something and to move. And I've been to the gym many times where I've gone in there and I have no energy. I've got no motivation, and I've left there in under 30 minutes, 20, 25 minutes. And I just go, you know what? Not today. But
at least you
I
showed up. You showed up.
showed up. So again, it's showing up. And that's the habit, isn't it? It's showing up. Even though I didn't hit the mark that day, that's okay, because I also realized that part of being human is that you're going to have good days and bad days, but you showed up and I'm still going through that habit of showing up each day. So that
Yeah.
helps. That
I was just thinking of the other one of a good habit, and I've said this a couple of times on the pod over the 16 episodes, that your habit of calling the kids even when they're not with you every day for that quick check-in. Sometimes they take the call, sometimes they may not be
yes.
able to because they're busy kids as well. But that, to me, as a habit, is a good habit. You know, what's the cue? You must have had that, some sort of cue in your phone, or waiting for them to finish their school or whatever. And you used to do it when we worked together, that you would say, hey, I'm just stepping out for 15 minutes. People do that all the time, to step out for a
Yes.
smoke.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
10 minutes. You were doing
Or
it.
it was driving to work. When I hop in the car to drive for work, that was a cue to, okay, I'm going to call the kids. I'm in the car.
Yeah.
I'm on route. Call the kids. It could be lunchtime. Could be the cue. It could be on the way home on the train. It could be after you have a shower. You call the kids. Like, there's all these. And we talked about habit stacking as well. One leads to another. I brush my teeth and then I do X or Y.
Well, so you're doing a cue. The crave is because you want to be the good dad that you can. The response to that is, you get this elation if you can get to speak to them, and the reward, which is, again, another dopamine hit, but you also know that you've hopefully had some impact in your child's life every day, and something to build to. So not everyone can do it. We know, but where you can build it into your life, make sure you do. And even if they're living in your house, mate, it's still worth spending a bit of time with each of them every day.
Yes, and it is. You have to be conscious of these little things that you're doing. That's an interesting example. And because of, I think, a couple of things, that's something that takes probably 5 minutes a day. It's not a huge effort, but over time, we talked about these habits then become your identity. So the 5-minute call each day, for the dads listening out there, over time you do that day after day, week after week, year after year. How is that being received by your kids? He was the present dad. See the identity? He was a present father because of these micro habits of doing 5 minutes a day. The way it shifts and the way it can influence not just yourself, but the people around you. For example, another one that has been a blessing for me was, and we talked about this maybe last week, the week before, the stop and the pause before I respond, because I was quite animated and I would get set off quite easily. And once I kind of got into the habit of that, creating that distance and that gap, what happens is, over a period of months and years, you then become the calm guy, the guy that never lashes out, the guy that always responds calmly, and why? Because of that 2 or 3 second pause, and you bring that into your life and it carries through to even work situations. And then, I remember someone telling me last year, you're always so calm when you respond to things. It's like nothing bothers you. And in my head, I'm thinking, you don't know me. It's like, you don't know it. Now, if you knew the old me, you don't even, it's a chalk and cheese thing. And you don't know what's going on in my head. You know what I mean? So it's how these little things and how they can influence the people around you and really create your identity from the inside out.
Yep. So now you're talking about, because they're training, that training becomes their identity. And it's something that you've got to remember, that's not how you started out, right? I can imagine you as a young fella and you weren't the calm guy.
No, I wasn't the calm guy. And I would make excuses.
You were fire and brimstone.
Yes, and I would make excuses for it. I would say things like, and I'd have it reinforced, where maybe even my mum would say, oh, you've got your father's temper.
Yeah, very
You've got your father's temper. And it's
that's good. So someone is saying,
yeah, someone's giving you
your identity, right?
Yes, and then you get influenced by that, and by not just your own self-talk, but what other people are saying to you. And then you go, okay, I must be that guy. I accept that I'm that guy. I'll start behaving like that guy. And then again, all that does is reinforce your identity. It's like if someone comes up to you and says, this guy's a health freak. You keep hearing that, you go, oh yeah, I'm the health freak. It does, but it plays into your psyche, or this guy doesn't touch alcohol. I'm the no alcohol guy. It's
Mm.
not I don't drink. I'm not the alcohol guy. Or for me, I'm the non-smoker.
Yeah,
That's my
I had one
identity.
the other day, on the weekend, actually,
Mm.
when his father would always say to him, "Gee, you've always been lucky, kid," as a young fella, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just repeated that. "You've always
Yes.
been lucky. You've always been
Yes.
lucky. You've always been lucky." And
Yeah.
obviously, and he's now 40. He is a very lucky guy.
Yeah. But how much of it is just he's creating his own luck because he just goes in
I'm
there with a
sure he does,
particular
because he
attitude?
goes through with the abundance mentality, right? That's how
Yes.
he sees
Yes.
life. There's so much
Yes.
out there. It's gonna
Yes.
what has to come to me will come to me. And there was that one, and then there was somebody else who was repeating that they said their mum always used to say, "I know that there's a lot of kids doing bad things when they'd catch up with their friends, like the mother's group, but my kid, they're always such a great kid. They're always very, very good kids. I'm very lucky that they're very good kids." Now, do those kids sometimes run amok and do whatever? Sure. But the kids all grew up in a belief. Their
Hearing,
identity was, we're good kids. So when
we're
the
good
time
kids.
comes to make really bad decisions,
Yeah.
well, they don't
It's like,
identify in that way.
no, it's like, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm the good kid. I'm the good kid. And you keep hearing that. So it's interesting how these things, it's not just about your self-talk. It's about, I think it then goes back into, again, the sum of the people around you.
But
You know,
also, Josh, say
yeah.
you have a big influence in your kids' life. So therefore, treat it that you have an influence on their habits as well.
Yes, yes,
So this is
yes,
about working on you, but also, trying to make ourselves better. But
yes.
you have to remind yourself that,
Yes, that they hear and they listen. It's just like, oh, I say to my kids, you're so much more disciplined than me. You guys are the
mm,
disciplined kids. You guys study I never study. You guys are the studiers, so they get this mentality. I'm a studier.
yeah,
Dad wasn't. I am. I got the
yes,
study gene. It's who I am. I'm the study guy. Or I say to my son, oh, you're the intense gym guy.
mm,
No, I don't see anyone train like you. You train really intensely when you go to the gym. It's crazy. It's great, but I don't have that in me. But you're the intense guy. So he goes to
that's
the
perfect.
gym and he's the intense guy.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, that's perfect, Josh. So that's the influence you're having, but it's
Mm,
also, you've got to be thinking about your own identity now. So this is about us, and
yes.
especially for midlife blokes
Yes.
out there,
But
and young
also
blokes as well.
be careful. Yeah, that just reminded me what you just said then, but we have to be really careful about the negative messaging that we're giving our kids and the people around us as well. You're lazy. You're lazy. You never pick up after yourself. Do you know what I mean? And identifying with the kids that they've got these really negative traits where they
Yeah.
just,
So, I think we probably sort of went through what identities are we accidentally rehearsing
mm,
to ourselves,
mm,
and probably our 20s into our 40s. What identity did we have? Actually, maybe that's different. What identity did you have in your 20s that no longer fits in your 40s? You just went through the ones of how calm you were versus how
mm,
you weren't.
mm,
Mine would be, I was pretty relaxed on, with no real goals or any of those things as a young 18 to 20. I think it was in my yearbook that I was going to live in the jungles in Borneo, just to, just go out and have a surf or do whatever, just
yes.
no cars.
You were the
It's not,
super chill guy.
I was a super chill. And then I probably became a bit more intense. I try not to be too intense all the time, but
Yes.
that's difficult for me. But yeah, it definitely changed. There is a change agent that happens in you,
Mm,
and yeah, if you can change in as many good ways as you can and try to decrease the amount of bad ways, then you'll end up with a good life. So, and also making sure that what you're saying to yourself about who you are now, maybe if I say, I'm not the bloke who, I don't drink to excess.
mm, mm,
That's the bloke I am. Maybe if I
mm.
keep repeating that to myself, I might end up as that person.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I think absolutely you got to keep reinforcing who you want to be every day. because it's, and being conscious of your positive versus your negative self-talk, because again, we've touched on 80% of our thoughts are negative. So you really have to consciously get in there and kind of deprogram yourself, number one. I think the other thing is around your actions, and I'm guilty of it. I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. So if I'm trying to form new habits, I go crazy.
Mm.
So, I go into this extreme mode and I'm not prepared to do the, let's change one little thing. I'm not the one little thing guy. I'm the, no, let's just turn this shit upside down guy. Right?
Yeah.
That's
So
the guy I am.
if you miss 2 workouts, you're blowing out,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Or is that what you're
yeah.
talking about? Like
Well, yeah, and I'm not just in that respect, yeah, but I think I've used that example. It's just, it's so innate in me. If I don't do it for 2, 3 days, then I feel a shift in me. Emotionally, I become quite, it's easy for me to get tense if I don't sort of
yeah, mine would be, make a decision to go to jiu-jitsu or something, and then I start going and then have a break in it for whatever reason, get sick or go away,
Yes,
go on holidays or do something else, some other priorities. And then I find it difficult to get back into it. So,
yes,
but then or surfing, you can easily do that. The weather's not great, so I'm not going to go in.
yes,
But then when you go back to it, you go, I absolutely love this. Why haven't I kept
yes,
that habit
yes.
going?
Yes, that's one I've really wanted to incorporate into my life. Two things actually, just for like mental health, is probably meditation and journaling.
Mm.
They're two things that I've tried and tried and tried. I've never been able to get any consistency around that. So I find that one interesting. But again, I probably set really unrealistic expectations for a guy that doesn't do it. I say to
Yeah.
myself, I'm not doing it, but you're going to sit down on a cushion for 15 minutes and meditate. And I'm already got that sort of type A, let's go. So it's already probably
Well,
against
mate,
what,
last week we talked about having mental clarity, and at the end of that, we both said, you can declutter, and that was one of them, and the other one was delete your social media apps, which we said at the start we did, and so, but what we actually did was remove the cue, right?
yes,
You've
we did.
removed that cue to that habit. And
Yes,
therefore you didn't end up in the rest of the bad habit, which is it's not on your phone. What are you going to do? Search it up, try to find it. Doesn't sort of work
yes.
unless you
It's,
install it. It's all
we
too
create
hard.
friction.
Friction's there. That's
We
right. You put
created
friction,
friction.
friction
Put
in front
friction.
of bad habit.
Yes. It's the
So
same thing like, if you look at food, for example, if you've got no junk food in the house, the friction is I need to get into the car now.
yeah,
I need to drive down to Woolworths like an
yeah,
animal
yeah.
and I need to get that bag of Cheetos,
Mm.
right? So
And you can
that's
usually talk yourself out of doing that or make it that
you
difficult. You just
unless
don't.
I've had a couple of drinks.
Yeah, definitely delete DoorDash from your account as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you're not driving. Then you're walking down the shop.
Yes. So why
So
do
let's do.
men struggle with their habits, right? So I guess a couple of stats: men aged 40 to 55 report the highest stress levels in Australia. That's from ABS.
Yep.
What does that mean? Under stress,
We're in the sweet
what
spot.
happens? We default to our habits under
Yep.
stress, consciously or unconsciously. So what does that mean? You're going to get decision fatigues. You've got transitions as well from work to home. They cause emotional spillover into your family time.
Well, I'll be guilty
So
there. Yep.
yeah, so we're all guilty. Some of these are environmental. Some of these are just kind of time of day. Some of these are really our age that kind of dictates this, our energy levels. But all of these sort of play into why men, particularly in our demographic, struggle with habits,
Well, that
which is
sounds
interesting.
like, the men aren't really failing because they're weak. They're failing because the brain is overloaded. And overloaded brains go back to the old habits.
Go back to the old habits, and I think um, we put so much power on motivation, and it's rubbish. It's just, I get it. Motivation will help you in certain days, in certain ways, but it's not a staple. motivation is not a consistent staple that is going to get you to do stuff every day. It's only habits that will do that. Because like you said, motivation, it comes, it goes, it wanes. It's just not, motivation is not the cure-all for anything. It's just you have to understand the way the brain works, and then you need to act in a way that's going to trigger those unconscious actions. Because once it's on autopilot, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You're good to go. And it does take a while. What do they say? Around 66 days or something is they used to have the whole, takes 28 days to build a new habit. They've done a bit more research on that.
180 days to break it. What is it?
Well, 2 hours really, 5 minutes to break them, but
Yeah.
probably a little bit longer than what people initially thought.
So, and when you think about where Australia is at the moment, that it's the current events for middle-aged guys, mortgage stress, it's at its highest in over a decade. So you've got divorce rates at their highest rates. So matrimonial or even relationship partners.
I don't want to get us shut down, but I heard a stat around perimenopause. I hope I can get this through the censors, but but nearly 65% of divorces are during that perimenopause phase of life.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's pretty much our audience there.
Should I put it up on the whiteboard?
No.
Put it
I might even edit this out. Yeah.
No, it's staying. So, because these are things we're all facing, right?
We're all facing sleep disruption too.
All of these things we're talking about apply to women too. So,
yes,
habits, our ages, or the women are in the mortgage stress maybe as well. So, sleep disruption if you're working longer hours and things like that. So, look, there's all the pressure points. Now let's do something about it, and let's talk about how to get those habits or identify what kills the habits, and then we can talk about how to build habits that'll actually stick.
Yeah, I think so quickly we touched on motivation, and we talked about, motivation is something that can collapse very quickly. I look at an example. How many times I'll go back to the exercise example, anything where you've made a commitment to yourself the night before, you put I'm going to get up at 6 and I'm going to work out. What happens at 6 o'clock? The dinner's super warm, isn't it? So motivation, your whole disposition has changed in 7-8 hours. You've gone from let's do this to there's no way I'm getting out of this bed. So that's an example of motivation isn't going to take you very far, right?
Yep.
What about the all or nothing thinking? We kind of touched on this. I was the all in kind of guy. I think that's another one that can derail you. It's really about small steps or small actions frequently. Seems to be the way to go.
And we should actually say a lot of this is sort of based on the Atomic Habits, James Clear book. So
yes,
if you wanted to keep an eye on that one, there's a lot of things we're talking about here that are very well addressed.
There's another good one, Kieran, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I think I pronounced that correctly, but that's another pretty well-renowned habit formation book.
Another show notes one.
Another show note one, yep.
So, yeah, all or nothing. The other ones are the overcomplication. So we're just talking about what kills the habits, and then we'll go into how we're going to build the habits around it. So if it's complicated, if there's too many steps to it, if you've got to do, like Josh was saying, if you've got to do 8 things in between to be able to complete that habit, then guaranteed you're going to not hit it. You're going to collapse there. So everyone knows what it's like to be busy, or if you're traveling for your work, you've got to catch planes and you're not at home to do that habit. You need to have it in a way like exercise. You could do your push-ups and sit-ups and whatever else in your hotel room, right? So you don't need a lot of space, but you've got your commitment. So these are that overcomplication. You don't need a whole weights bench and things like that to do it. You just need the identity that you were talking about before, that you do your gym work every day, or you do exercise every day, I should say.
You move every day for sure. Ignoring emotional triggers as well, treating symptoms instead of causes. So what is snacking isn't about boredom and it's not about hunger. What is it about? So trying to understand what are those emotional triggers that derail you is really important, and trying to deal with those.
Or it could be someone close to you and what they say to you always triggers you. For example, maybe you're a right leaning person and your daughter might be a left leaning person. So anything that they say might trigger you. So you've got to be able to
I'm
figure out a
I'll
way around that
I would
trigger.
take that I will take that even further, one step. I think there's certain people that trigger me straight away
Yeah.
because maybe I've had a history of a few instances where they've triggered me. Now, as soon as they come into the room or I'm on call with them, I'm triggered before they've
Mm,
even spoken because I'm expecting that you are going to annoy me because I've got this evidence of history that
yeah.
tells me that that's probably a high chance of that happening. So I'm already going in there, probably on edge, and I don't even know it.
Yeah. Yeah. So another habit killer is you don't have an evening wind down. So you just come in. Actually, this happens when you got young kids. So as soon as you get home, there's kids all over you. There's, for the blokes who are out, working outside and you're sort of, there's no downtime for you, right? Because you're on. As soon as you're home, dad's home, fantastic. So kids
Yes.
are all over you. Can remember that was so like you would have to really compartmentalize what you've just gone through at work and then make sure
Mm,
you tried to not bring it involved with the kids at the same time.
mm. Difficult that one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not saying I got a solution to that other than the kids grew
Mm.
up. So that's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I found with that one actually just quickly, there's normally a transition between work and home, whether it be the commute home or there's generally a space, harder now because you're working from home. But if you do have
mm,
that space of time or environment, whatever, maybe think about a routine, a decompression routine that's going to allow you to sort of get into that next environment cleanly without all the baggage. For me, coming home from work, I have to ride home. I bike ride home. So for me, that's the transition. That's the habit, the ride home that kind of puts me into that
I had a mate
next
who was
state.
working from home and he would, 5 o'clock or 5:15 or 5:30, whatever it was. He had a set time that when it was done, he'd just go straight outside and start his walk wherever it was. Get back
Good man.
They'd get back in 45 minutes. There's
Yes.
his walk done, but he was
Yeah.
coming. It would have been the same if he was in the office in the city and
Yes.
then coming home for 45 minutes.
Great
He's got to
idea.
listen to his podcast
Yes.
or whatever else.
Yeah.
So
But he comes back as a dad and a husband as opposed to coming there as a worker that's
yeah,
just stepped out of
correct.
his office. So
Who was still,
he's
who just
changing
got
his
off a
role.
terrible call, sacking
Yes.
people or whatever else
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
had to do. So, which is good. So, and the last one of these pitfalls, trying to change everything at once. So,
Guilty,
we're
Your
just
Honor.
trying to get better progressively. It's almost impossible to change everything. Wake up tomorrow and go, oh, I'm a different person.
Mm.
You have to,
I
don't
get
sort of
it.
judge yourself on that.
It's tantalizing.
Mm,
It's tantalizing because it seems really attractive to change all of these things at once, so it does feel, oh, get into shape and I'll be this and I'll be a monk and I'll be a great employee and I'll be all these things and let's just do it all in one go. And it's exciting. So I can see why people are attracted to that. I find that attractive myself, but it's like, do you want to be in this hypothetical delusion or do you want to sit firmly in reality? Because reality and research dictates that the best path to this is small steps and focusing on one thing at a time is probably going to give you the best outcome. That's the reality.
yep.
All
Okay.
right.
So, how are we going to build habits that actually stick with us? There's 7 things, and these are based again on James Clear and your other mate.
Charles Duhigg, yeah.
Let's do it. So, these are your base, and we've sort of paraphrased, I think, these. But so we'll start at the first. You need to identify first. Sort of, I am the kind of man who, use a simple example, exercises every day.
Mm,
Exercise is a part of their life. That is my standard behavior.
mm.
That's one you were describing before, but there's other examples of that.
Yeah, it could be I'm the kind of guy that always responds calmly.
Hmm.
I'm the kind of guy that never has devices when it's dinner time. Just don't do it. I'm the kind of guy that never brings my phone to bed.
Yep.
I'm not that guy. I won't do that. I'm the kind of guy that never drinks through the week. Never.
I'm the kind of guy who'll walk up to people and say good day.
Yeah. I'm the kind of
Right?
guy that makes
That's
eye
a habit.
contact.
For some people, that's very difficult to do.
Yes. 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 For sure.
So I would also say here how to build habits that actually stick and how to break the habits that are bad. So if we could just go back to that one before of add friction to the bad habit.
Mm.
Like we said, delete the social medias and
Mm.
you will have decreased the cue
Mm.
to that bad habit.
Yeah. I think that's one part of it, but I think the flip side to that is you just can't remove stuff. You've got to replace it.
Mm.
And I think we'll have to sort of talk about that. But it's
Yeah,
like if you're
right.
going to delete social media, what is your go-to from that?
So that's designing your environment, right?
Yes,
Is that right?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is essentially saying I don't have these social media apps, but I have two fantastic books that I'm super keen to read.
Mm.
So I'm going to read those instead. That's where I'm going to occupy my time or whatever it is, or I'm going to go build some architectural Lego with my son instead because I'd rather be doing that.
That's how you're going to fill that gap. That's
That's
good.
how you're going to fill
Replacement.
that out
Yeah.
with something good.
So the other one, number 2, the 2-minute rule. So we want to shrink the habit until it's too small to resist. So have you got an example?
I do.
Yeah.
I just talked about my 15-minute meditation that I'm never going to do, right? But if someone said to me, do you think you could just do 10 deep breaths a day?
Mm.
Just find 60 seconds out of your day to take 10 deep breaths in and out.
Yeah.
I could go, yeah, that's easy. That's easy. That's almost disgracefully easy, right? 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 5. Before you know it, I'm the meditator, right? That's what I should be doing. But that's probably an example of, breaking something, how to shrink it down to push-ups. I want to do 50 push-ups a day. Go down, please. Just do 2. That's it. 2 a day.
You're going to do 2 a day. Yeah.
2 a day. And then next week, you're going to do 3 a day or 5, right? Before you know it, you've been doing push-ups every day for 30, 60 days. And then one day you're going to go, oh, just another 10. I'm down here anyway.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're the 50 push-up guy. And you've been doing it for 3 months.
What we want to do is do the thing within 2 minutes, right? That's the plan there. And okay,
yes.
can I go to the gym? Well, it takes me 15 minutes to drive there. It's half an hour mucking around in there, 45, there's 15. But if you can do something in 2 minutes, you're 2 minutes worth.
Yes, and the beauty of the rule is most people, once they get into something for a couple of minutes, they get into a state of flow because they're in it now. It's like, well, yeah, I had to do 2, but this isn't too bad. I'll keep going.
I'm going to take that for the exercise thing.
Yes.
So that I exercise daily or move daily.
Move daily. And you know what?
Move daily for 2 minutes. Can I get it done in 2 minutes?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, get moving,
So,
get out, put your runners on and just walk around the block for 2 minutes.
That's it. That's it. And then you'll keep walking. Is what's going to happen. Yeah.
Because you're already there.
Because you're Johnny Walkering. That's good. So next is habit stacking. So we've started a habit and now you want to attach it to an existing routine. So this would be, I wake up, I say I'm going to do 2 minutes worth of push-ups, or in your case, you were going to do 2 minutes worth of breathing, right? And then you have let's do yours first, 2 minutes worth of breathing. And then after that, you habit stack. So you say, after that, I've got the gym clothes lying out. So I'm going to put a good habit with another good habit.
Yes.
Right. So this is where your morning's going, presumably.
And it could be before or after, for example. It could be, it could be after I brush my teeth. I go down and I do 10 push-ups.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't necessarily have to be before. It just needs to be with a habit. So it really just depends on probably your own self in terms of what feels best for you for those particular habits.
Well, people are doing, you're already doing these things where you like to wake up in the morning and then you brush your teeth. And then from brushing the teeth, I've had the shower. Then from the
Yeah.
shower, I put on the deodorant. And then,
Yeah.
you're stacking already. And maybe you want to write these down of what you want to stack
Yes.
potentially.
And just find a way to insert whatever you want to do into some positive routine that you've already established.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and well, that's it. This is the environmental design.
Mm.
Which is number 4, if you then have your gym clothes out from the night before, you got it ready. Oh, it was swimming. I should be doing more swimming. So then if I've got the goggles out, got the swimmers out, got my backpack with the towel already set, you can wake up and do the 10-minute, but we've actually, by designing the environment, you're able to continually do these things. You're probably thinking everybody's out there. They're probably already designed their environment that way, but they just don't know it. And it probably leads them to their bad habits, such as there's ice cream in my fridge. And if there's ice cream in my fridge, eventually I'm going to feel it and I'll want to go there. So that not having the ice cream allows my environment design means that I don't have it. I know it's not great for me. I do have it when I'm going out, for sure. Love it.
But we talked about, like, when it comes to junk food, like, you want to put in friction for bad habits and you want to take away friction for good habits. So you talked about getting your swim gear prepared the night before. You're removing friction. You're waking up. It's the first thing you see when you wake up is your swim gear there. It's so easy now just to pop it on. You don't have to think about getting everything out. It's front and center. It's that type of thing.
Yep. Okay, we're moving through them. The next one is one metric. So what metric you're going to judge this habit by? Is that the way? And for everyone out there, like, we know of this stuff, but we're definitely guilty just as much as everybody else on these things. And we're only
100%.
here to, anything we're talking about is just to improve ourselves. We're not coming down as the masters of these domains. These are things that have either helped us or we're finding out about and want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'd be guilty of all of this stuff, at different times of my life. So, but it's just about recognizing it and putting some guardrails around it so that you don't find that you're getting yourself out of control with any of these things. It's probably the message, but I think it's about not being overwhelmed, right? So it's like when we talked about the small or micro habits, those little things that you do. And when you try to initiate a habit, it could be just looking at one number. So it could be, it could just be your weight, trying to lose weight. I'm just going to look at that number on the scale. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I'm not going to look at all these other associated metrics. I just want to focus on this one thing and that's it. I think would be the message on that.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. And then build your streaks. You see this with the kids on Snapchat or something like that, where they get streaks for sending each other photos of themselves. But realistically, why? Because it works as a habit former. Those kids going in, the big social media giants have figured this out. You want to be able to build a streak with consistency, with your identity and with stability.
Yes.
To be able to, consistency probably is the start and end, but eventually you're doing it from a stable position.
Yes. My daughter had a streak on Duolingo.
Oh yeah.
And she had like 600 plus days of streak. And I think when she was studying for one of her HSC exams, she lost it. Poor thing. She was not happy. I even wrote in to Duolingo to say, hey, can you help a brother out? But no.
What's the language?
They didn't respond. She was doing Japanese.
Okay.
She was doing Japanese. But I could tell that it was the streak that was, even during busy times and when she was tired, she did not want to lose that streak.
Yeah.
So is an example of a motivation tool there that was for her, that kind of.
That's one that's built into your devices, but you could also build that into your, so what you're saying is you've got to build in this consistency of, I've done my move every day.
Yes.
My move goal, right?
Yeah, your move goal, exactly. Apple Watches are right all over that, aren't they? In terms of people, and amazing the things people will do to close out their rings.
Yeah,
Some people will
true.
pace up and down the house to get their 10,000 steps up because it's like, I'm not losing this 10,000 a day streak. Or I'll
Exactly.
go for a walk around the block because it's like I'm 150 days in. I'm not giving this up. So yeah, there's value to it as long as you don't become, as long as that doesn't become another addiction or issue in your life as well. So just use it as a tool, but don't get too hung up and don't put your whole identity into streaks and stats and things like that. I think is something that people need to be
Okay. And then
mindful
the last
of.
one
Yeah,
was just reinforce your identity and who you are becoming, celebrating that, not so much the performance. And this was a good quote, I reckon. The man you want to be is built in tiny, boring increments. I don't know
definitely.
who came up with it, but gee, that's
That's interesting. Who's that famous American swimmer? Michael Phelps.
yes.
I remember he was saying he does not skip a day training. And he said, but he knows the other athletes do. So
Yep.
in his mind, he did the calculation in his head. If he doesn't have a rest day, and I'm sure his rest day was probably like an active rest day, but he trained every day. So in his mind, he compounded what that would do to set himself apart between himself and the other swimmers that he knew were training, a certain number of days, and he wasn't missing a day. And what that would compound over months and years. And for him, that's the way he did it. You know
That's
what I
his
mean?
mental samurai sword, right?
Yeah,
Be able to say,
absolutely.
there's no
Yeah.
one better than me. And it's same with Tom Brady, same with Michael Jordan.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're into your sports.
Yes. But the guys they turn up every day.
Mm,
Every day. They grind every single day.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big grind, but it's that consistency of,
Consistency.
but it's not, it's not sexy, is it? It's not
No.
sexy, these things,
Well, that one's not, for sure.
No. Yeah, 100%.
So all of these things are going to help you form those habits. So you got to have a think about what's happening in your current environment around you, or what habit could you shrink to 2 minutes tomorrow? Because we find that once you've listened to this and then you put into action just in the week after you've listened to us, those things seem to stick. Well, they're sticking on us,
Yes.
I'd say, since we started. And
Yeah,
hopefully,
definitely.
yeah, things that we
Definitely.
come up with are sort of like, well, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all just trying to
Yeah.
be better.
Yes.
So you want to do the next bit, JP?
What, in terms of we're just going to hit the call to actions, I think?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
things that you want to do. We've already said, the things you want to make sure you can focus on is your health, your money, your mind, and your family.
Yeah. I definitely think, they are really health, money, mind, probably the three big pillars where we can look at, sleep, hydration, steps, all that type of thing, money, what have we got some stuff on automation? What's one metric we want to maybe track with our mind? Maybe we want to look at meditations, reflection, some silent walks, that type of thing. But
The
I think
money's
sorry?
good. Like to be able to do your budget and then like is as a habit of, should I spend this money? It is a bad habit. Like people, I'm guilty of it as well.
Yes.
So it's
And
blowing money when you shouldn't, or having more value to money or budgeting or something like that. There's a lot there. You're actually very good at this.
it's something I'm definitely been interested in. Sometimes I question what brought me to being very good at it in terms of the mentality around it is sometimes something that I need to probably reflect on. But yeah, it's definitely something I'm pretty self-aware. What I would say though, and I think this goes for most habits, is when does good become bad? When do good intentions? You look at exercise. Do 45 minutes an hour. If, for example, if I've got no leeway in that, or 1 hour becomes 2 and it's starting to impact my life and I'm developing probably these addictive patterns around what should be a good habit, I think it's something that we have to be conscious of as well, not to let these habits be that probably rigid, that we've got no flexibility around that either. So, or when does, you
Well,
look at,
I'll call you out when you start going around and flexing your muscles everywhere we go and pointing at things with a showing bicep, mate. So
it's only calves, but they're my mum's calves. I did nothing for them really, except be born. I've got unusually large calves for some reason.
it's hard to stare at your own calves, though.
Well, it's the only thing I've got on my son these days are my calves, nothing
Oh,
else.
okay.
But
So,
yeah, so but just on that, probably just to, for example, you talked about being good at your finances and having a financial plan, doing budgets. Great. If I'm checking in on my finances 4 or 5 times a day, can you see how good becomes bad and starts to, so this is the line I think people need to sort of understand, where what the boundaries are between good habits and bad habits, and being sure to sort of stay on the side of the ledger that is in the healthy space, and not letting these new habits kind of consume you or overconsume you.
don't be sadistic with these things. That's probably
Yes,
important. And
exactly.
don't whip yourself when you get it wrong.
And don't be judgmental. Don't be judgmental as well. I think it's like the reformed smoker. I don't want to hear about non-smoker. Even I suffer with reformed smokers. I'm not even a smoker, but no one wants to hear this kind of pulpit advice on this epiphany that you've had. So do your habits, make it yourself. Don't become Don't become that guy. Don't become that guy. Just
don't become that bloke. All right.
So a couple of things here, mate. I think we talked about, the identity statements. I'm the kind of guy who is this or who's that. The 2-minute habit, shrinking that down to something that's just super easy to do. Focus
and do
on
it tomorrow.
Do it tomorrow, or do it today.
Do it today. Yeah.
Do it today. Why not? Why wait till tomorrow never comes? I think that's a song.
I like. Okay.
Tomorrow never comes. That's a song. The environmental reset, thinking of a friction point, putting out your clothes, putting your phone away, preparing your meals, that type of thing. Focus on a pillar. We talked about health, money, mind. Pick one, create a tiny habit around that. Just do that for a week. Ask yourself one deep question. Which craving drives my worst habit? And what is the craving for? Comfort, control, escape, certainty. I think if you can do one of those,
okay. Yeah. So how to kill out that habit? I think add friction to it. I think
friction's a big one.
I would say that's the easiest one to do for most of the habits that we've probably formed. But yeah, just go in there and try to figure out what that worst habit for you. Just one. That's all we're trying to do. Just do one habit.
Just do one.
So they're all great.
And then, what are you going to focus on?
I'm going to do the exercise or move every day. That's what I'm going to do. And let's just see how we go. We'll come back next week, JP, and we'll see if I want to do it. Maybe and I'm not saying I'm going to be lifting cars here. I'm just saying do the push-ups or whatever. Actually, I met a mate of mine. He's 60 odd, and he's been doing 300 push-ups a day since he's 20.
Really?
He's not a big guy,
no,
but he's cut, like he's lean as.
Yeah.
And
100 a day. He probably doesn't even
looks healthy, and he looks a lot younger than
he is. Of course, there's not many guys probably around that vintage doing 300 a day, or any vintage, to be honest with you.
All different push-ups as well, not just
different angles
push-ups
and
left and right and all these kind of crazy things.
And no
at first
doubt,
I thought it was. At first I called it out as bullshit, as you would expect, because it was and it was later corroborated by his wife. So
okay,
and over a laugh.
I'm sure for him, it's not even, he doesn't get up thinking, I need to do 300 push-ups. It's just baked into his identity.
It's the first thing he does.
It's the first thing he does. He's on autopilot. It's like brushing the teeth, isn't it? Which is great. It's a good example of, it's amazing things that you look at when you're not doing it, and you go, oh, what a psychological thing, 300 push-ups a day, right? You would feel challenged just getting your psyche around that, of doing 300 push-ups in a day. Yeah, or just say no. Whereas for this guy, not even a thought. So see the difference in when you've got things running on autopilot, things that seem extreme. I'm sure he didn't start with 300 push-ups, Kieran.
No.
Sure, he
not at all,
worked
but
his way.
But he's 20. So he's sort of like, and he does, I think now he does them like 30 and then rest for a couple of minutes and does something different, 30, and
That's
does
like
another
that's
one.
like the prison workout, Kieran. That's the prison
Oh,
workout.
yeah, well.
That's what they do.
I
They do little
didn't
bits
say
all day.
in Long Bay for
No,
40
no,
years.
no. No, it's just a little aside there, but just, yeah. So that's good. I hope this podcast educates, forms, motivates, not too much, but encourages you to some sort of call to action. That's the
Wait a
message,
sec,
isn't it?
I haven't called you out yet. What are you doing?
Oh,
What's your...
so we're going to avoid
You don't
that.
get to escape straight away.
Yeah. All right. So my one is going to be, I am not going to drink Monday to Thursday.
Okay.
That's
and how are
it.
you going to do it?
I am not going to have alcohol in the house, because if I'm going to drink Monday to Thursday, it's going to be in the house for sure. So
Yeah.
it cannot be in the house Monday to Thursday. And then if I'm going to drink, it's either going to be out or it's going to be having a glass of wine with my wife on a Friday night. I think is a bit more respectable than the midweek. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Well, it used to be a thing with G&Ts for you, didn't it?
It still is. I'm going out tonight. Did I tell you I got the C Club tonight? I got the C Club tonight. So I'm already prepping my body. I've got the hydrolytes going. I've got all sorts of things. I understand how these guys work. So I'm just trying to prepare my body and mind for what's ahead. So anyway, glad the podcast is today, not tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, well played. Well, you have a good night out. Okay, I'll put it on. All right, mate.
All right,
well,
big
thank
fella.
you.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Thanks for another
See you,
good
bud.
one,
Have a
mate.
good
And
week.
I'll see you for another one next week. All right. Take care. This episode is general information only. Full disclaimers in the notes.